Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on media, focusing on media representations of social class. When examining how the media represents the interests and lifestyles of different social classes, we need to examine how the media portrays each of the different social classes in very different ways. Whilst Marxists would suggest that this is deliberate, pluralists argue that the way in which these social classes are portrayed reflects real life. As with all media representations, it's important to examine the extent to which these stereotypes are true and to what extent they shape the way in which others interact with these groups as a result. In this video, we're going to examine research into the ways in which the underclass, the working class, the middle class, and the upper class, including the monarchy, are portrayed through the media. One of the most marginalised groups within media representations are those in poverty, to the extent that individuals who are reliant upon welfare benefits are often portrayed as forming an underclass by different media sources. McKendrick, when looking at poverty in the media for the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, found that there is a marginalisation of poverty in media coverage. Individuals are often depicted as being in poverty due to either cultural factors or unforeseen circumstances, such as child poverty or rises in the cost of living, rather than examining poverty from a structural viewpoint. Shildrick and MacDonald argued that often those in the underclass are labelled as being welfare dependent, through reality programmes that focus on small groups who play the system, and are seen as work shy and demanding money from the state. Charwan and Foster also argue that poverty is labelled in the media, with a focus on specific forms of poverty, again child poverty, rising cost of living, or increases in rent as being the cause of poverty, which fails to reflect the wider picture of poverty in the UK and fails to elicit sympathy from the viewer. Whilst some argue that there is an idealisation of the working class through soap operas such as EastEnders and Coronation Street, Owen Jones argues that the media has come to demonise the working class, portraying them as having distinctive subcultural values that differ from the mainstream. The use of labels such as chavs dehumanises the working class based upon their appearance and behaviour. Additionally, Curran and Seaton argue that the interests of the working class are rarely represented in the media, and when they are often trivialised or dumbed down. And this can be evidenced through coverage of the EU referendum in 2016, whereby the interests of the working class were often ignored or trivialised by middle-class media. Finally, Newman argues that the media focuses excessively on working-class deviance, through reality shows that focus on following the police, to reporting of crimes and their victims. The media portrays the working class in a negative way, seeing them as deviating from social norms and values. The middle class are often perceived as being the default audience for media coverage. The media will transmit an ideology that fits in with the norms and values of the middle class, as the middle classes make up a large percentage of media professionals. This means that middle class ideas of what is culturally acceptable are often transmitted to the masses, and opposition to these is often portrayed as deviant. For example, the news is often constructed based upon the interests of the middle class. For example, the performance of the economy. It doesn't focus on the impacts on the working class of economic performance, rather the increase in share prices and the growth of the economy, which often fails to translate to the lives of individuals. Furthermore, the news is perceived to present the ideas of an educated liberal elite, which has led some commentators to comment of cultural elitism within the media that excludes those that do not hold these values. Traditionally, the media has been reverential towards the upper classes and the monarchy in media coverage. Newman argues that the media presents the lifestyles of wealth as aspirational and admirable, and there is public interest in this. Altman also suggests that there has been an increased focus in the 21st century on the consumerism of wealth, fast cars, designer clothes, and property portfolios, which generates interest from those in the lower classes. Finally, Nairn, writing at the end of the 20th century, argues that the media is largely positive about the monarchy in the UK, although in the years since this article, and in particular with the growth of digital media sources, this can be argued to be questionable. Indeed, this forms one evaluation of media representations. To what extent has media coverage of the elites in society changed? While some media outlets, usually those controlled by more conservative ideologies, may retain a positive view of the royal family, Other media sources are more critical, for example the coverage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and the fallout over allegations against Prince Andrew. Even upper-class politicians come under increased scrutiny, with questions over the competence of those in power. In part this is due to the new media, with the growth of media outlets and the ability of individuals to create their own content. Furthermore, social changes in society have led to criticism of traditional hierarchies, and the past behaviour of upper classes is viewed through a more critical lens in the 21st century. Finally, there has been a widespread rejection of meta-narratives, including those of social class. This has led to individuals challenging what they see and read and denouncing many media sources as spreading false narratives or fake news, if it conflicts with their own individual worldview. This can be seen in practice through media reporting of the COVID-19 pandemic, with different media sources denouncing the claims of established mainstream media. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on media, looking at media representations of social class. Thanks for watching.